Reacher Season 2. What's with the time jump? Created by British author Jim Grant and under the pseudonym of Lee Child, the fictional character of Jack Reacher has found a place on the big screen and the small screen. None other than actor Tom Cruise played the charismatic but tough former U.S. Army military police officer in two big screen movies that were released in 2012 and 2016, though Cruise likely won't return. Adapting Grant's novels titled One Shot and Never Go Back, the world of Jack Reacher was brought back to the limelight once more when Smallville alum Alan Ritchson decided to step into the role for Prime Video's Reacher series. With a premise consisting of the title character being falsely accused of murder, the first season of the action crime saga premiered on February 4, 2022. After burrowing deep into a small-town conspiracy that involved politicians, town leaders, and wealthy business people who were all on the wrong side of the law, Reacher and two of his allies, honorable police officers played by Malcolm Goodwin and Will Fitzgerald, were able to put a stop to the criminal enterprise that was running through Margrave, Georgia. With the looming threat now diminished, the self-titled hobo, not a vagrant, moved on. But some trouble always seems to follow. Now looking to visually bring Child's Jack Reacher starring novel called Bad Luck and Trouble to life, a second season hit the streaming platform on December 15, 2023, with the first 3 episodes premiering on that date and each entry after that releasing once a week. Once a one-man group, Reacher finds himself reconnecting with various members of his old military police group because it seems someone is out there targeting them. One member, Franz, is already dead. While the change of story puts the main character in a more dangerous position, a conversation within the first episode reveals a considerable time jump between the events of the first season and the current one. Was there really a need for one? Is the reason hidden and not easily grasped upon first viewing? Are characters like Goodwin's Oscar Finley and Fitzgerald's Roscoe Conklin ever going to show up again? Let's talk about it in ATM. Reacher meets a familiar Neagley, a security pro who served with him, at a diner in New York City. When she mentions that it's been a minute since Margrave, Reacher enthusiastically responds with the exact time, 2 years, 7 months, and 19 days. While this fact alone sets the new season in the future, either 2024 or 2025, if we consider the Margrave saga to be in sync with our time at that moment, 2022, some may have thought the calculation was a fourth wall joke. Maybe that's how long the gap was between season shootings. But that's just not possible, considering the answer to that is 1 year, 4 months, and 3 days, time taken between the principal shooting for both seasons. As we all know, Jack Reacher is a very particular person when it comes to situational details and scenario specifics. Suffice it to say, there is no correlation between the time jump in the TV show and any such concept in the books. Killing Floor was a Reacher adventure written in 1997, and Bad Luck and Trouble was written in 2007. Both take place in the same years they were penned, which is a 10-year difference. The reason for the meticulous timekeeping of Alan Ritchson's version of the character then has to be explained by the value he has in interacting with members of his MP unit. These military allies are like a second family to him. It could be argued that the specificity of this line of dialogue was a bit unnecessary, but it was needed to show his connection to the past. The much-anticipated second season of Reacher has arrived, bringing more of the hard-hitting action, clever detective work, and larger-than-life heroics that fans have come to expect. However, one aspect that has sparked a lot of conversation is the unexpected time jump. Instead of picking up immediately where the first season left off, Reacher Season 2 fast forwards to a different phase of Jack Reacher's life, leaving fans to ponder why the showrunners made this narrative decision and how it impacts the story moving forward. A bold move. The time jump in Reacher Season 2 was undoubtedly a bold move. After the gripping events of the first season, many expected the new installment to dive right back into Reacher's nomadic adventures. But instead, we find ourselves at a different point in his life, with some unanswered questions about what transpired during the interim period. This shift has intrigued many viewers and raised several important questions. What happened during the gap? And why did the show's creators opt to skip over that time? While the time jump might have initially thrown off some fans, it serves a purpose both narratively and thematically. In the world of Reacher, time often plays a pivotal role in shaping the character. Jack Reacher is a man defined by his past experiences, and the time jump suggests that he has undergone personal evolution since we last saw him. This evolution isn't always linear or explained in detail, which reflects the nature of Reacher himself. He's an enigma, constantly moving forward, with little interest in reflecting on the past. The source material connection to understand the time jump, it's essential to examine the source material. Reacher is based on the Jack Reacher novels by Lee Child, a long-running series that spans multiple books and timeframes. Each novel operates as a standalone story, often with Reacher encountering new people, places, and situations. While the books are interconnected through Reacher's character, they don't always follow a strict chronological order. One book might take place immediately after another, while the next could jump ahead several months or even years. This approach reflects the nature of Reacher's lifestyle. He's constantly on the move, with no permanent home, friends, or job tying him down. The time gaps between stories often emphasize his transient, solitary nature. Therefore, the time jump in Reacher season may second be staying true to the spirit of the books, with the showrunners borrowing from this narrative structure to tell a new, self-contained story. This allows the show to explore different facets of Reacher's character without being beholden to a strict timeline. It also gives the writers more creative freedom to select storylines from various points in Reacher's life, ensuring that the show remains fresh and unpredictable. The second season, for example, may take inspiration from a different Jack Reacher novel that is set later in his timeline than the events of the first season. Avoiding repetition, another reason for the time jump could be the desire to avoid repetition. The first season of Reacher was a huge success, largely due to its fresh take on the action hero genre and Alan Ritchson's magnetic portrayal of Jack Reacher. However, following the same formula too closely in Season 2 could risk the show becoming predictable. By jumping forward in time, the showrunners can present new challenges, new settings, and a new version of Reacher that audiences haven't seen before. The time jump also offers the opportunity to introduce new supporting characters, enemies, and personal stakes for Reacher. While the first season focused heavily on Reacher's connection to his brother Joe and the conspiracy that surrounded his death, the second season may take a different thematic direction. By fast-forwarding to a later point in Reacher's journey, the show can explore new emotional beats and character dynamics that weren't present in the first season. A strategic decision for storytelling from a storytelling perspective, time jumps can be an effective way to create intrigue and propel a narrative forward. The gap between seasons leaves space for mystery, inviting viewers to piece together what might have happened during the intervening time. It's a technique used in many successful series, from Lost to The Walking Dead, to reinvigorate the plot and keep viewers on their toes. In the case of Reacher, the time jump is likely a strategic decision to maintain the momentum of the show while also allowing for narrative flexibility. Rather than being confined to a rigid chronological format, the time jump allows the writers to present Reacher as a character who exists outside of time, someone who drifts from one conflict to the next, without needing to explain every detail of what happened in between. This mirrors the episodic nature of his life in the books, where each story stands on its own, but adds to the legend of Jack Reacher as a mythic, larger-than-life figure. Conclusion: while the time jump in Reacher season may second have come as a surprise, it ultimately